Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Brother Steve Jones, the General Chair of Voteless People to Hopeless People. Thank you for joining us this evening. We have a lot of information to cover, so I'd like to get started. During this presentation, if you have any questions, please send your comments in the chat, and we'll try to answer them at the end. At this time, we're going to go to the slide deck. So once again, welcome. Thank you for participating in this evening's session. On behalf of our General President, Dr. Lanzer, our fraternity leadership, we welcome you. As we look at this coming November 7th election in 2024, we're facing a variety of headwinds: gerrymandering, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Ohio, issues in Maryland, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Voter suppression is still an ongoing threat to democracy. Issues with women's rights, healthcare, climate change, global unrest. All issues which discourage people from voting and people of color who may think their vote doesn't matter. This evening, we want to cover a few topics that hopefully will empower us to press through these headwinds and encourage our communities to engage in the political process and exercise our legal right to vote. These are the agenda items we will cover. And at this time, we hope to share with you the resources and tools that will empower our efforts in 2023 and 2024. The first person I'd like to present this evening is Brother Dumont to talk to us about their program they have in California, the fight against voter suppression. Brother Dumont.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brother Jones, for having me. I will keep this brief. We want to please extend condolences to the brothers over at Jackson State and the brother and our dear brother that entered the Omega service and his family. We are here to talk about FAVE 7000, which is an acronym that stands for Fighting Against Voter Suppression, and all the voter suppression efforts that there are out there to keep our people from voting. As Brother Jones mentioned, this is geared towards discouraging as well as keeping people away from the votes by any nefarious manner. So one of the things that FAVES, tackles is the idea of early voting, making sure that, your ballot is counted very, very early. So we're not just reliant on same day voting. Because on the same day we can encounter all kinds of issues, whether it be childcare or voter suppression efforts like moving the polling places, changing polling places, and crowds, long lines and things of that nature. With FAVES, we do encourage vote by mail and absentee ballots. And vote by mail and absentee ballots do a few things that we think helps to fight voter suppression. For one, you're able to have your ballot sent to your home or wherever it is that you maybe live, or if you live on campus, where you can go down the entire ballot. So we encourage people not just to vote in the presidential elections or to vote for your president or senator, but also make sure you vote down to the assemblymen, as well as your House of Representatives, judges, etc. The other thing that this effort does, it allows you the time and space to be able to review each candidate, do a compare and contrast, so you are aware of what each candidate stands for, what the measures mean, and what they stand for, so that you can make an informed decision. Lastly, one of the things that we encourage people to do, because here in California, COVID kind of expedited the idea of mail-in absentee ballots in our state. But what we do is encourage people to know what the requirements are for your state, because those things do change from time to time, again, as part of a voter suppression effort. We also ask that you reach out to and encourage family members, fraternity brothers, cousins, co-workers, and so on in other states outside of your own, so that you're not just putting your reach out to your immediate state where you live, but also you can reach out to states like Florida, states like Missouri, states like Alabama, Mississippi, where we can help to drive people to the polls and also help people to figure out what are the requirements in their state, what are the requirements in their district, in order for them to be able to participate. 2024 is going to be a pivotal election year, as we see everything that's going on in Ukraine. We see what's going on in Israel. And of course, we see what's happening in the House of Representatives. And it is upon us to make sure that we put responsible electors in the places where they can make the best decisions for our country and for our democracy. Right now, the House of Representatives having no speaker hamstrings everything that we're trying to do. So please go to Alpha MX and go to the page where you can find Fighting Against Voter Suppression. And I will be happy to add my phone number and email to the chat for anyone that has any kind of questions for me. And thanks again, Brother Jones. My presentation is for informational purposes only. I yield my time.
All right, Brother Dumont, thank you very much. As Brother Dumont mentioned, in the VPH library, there's information about this program and also some sample letters that me also share. Once again, Brother Dumont, thank you. As we move forward here, part of the BPH program is the way we're structured. As the general chair, we have regional focal points. And I'm pleased to share with you the regional focal points for each region. And as we move forward in 2023 and 2024, we're looking for these regional focal points to really provide the support to the regions relative to the regional vice presidents, district directors, assistant district directors, and the chapters, collegiate alumni to help solidify your programs for the VPH program. We're also pleased to announce they've expanded to include Brother Kelly, who will support the international brothers in our efforts to make sure they have access to the ballots, even though they're out of the country. If you've been on one of these presentations before, we always want to show the election cycle calendar. As you can see, 2023, recently, Mississippi had their primary last weekend. And as a result of that primary, they have identified their new governor. We still have Kentucky and Louisiana to occur, and also other elections. We'll talk about them as well. As I mentioned, Louisiana primary, that race had about a 36% voter turnout. So that means 64% of the people did not vote in that state. One of the things that we want to stress as VPHP is that we want to engage our communities. We want to engage everyone to vote. As nonpartisan, we don't tell you who to vote for. We just want you to be informed voters and to be engaged. I think you'd agree that in this democracy, we have 36% turnout is less than satisfactory. So once again, I want to call your attention to Kentucky, Mississippi, New Jersey, and Virginia. Their state house up for election this November. You have issues in Ohio with women's rights on the ballot. In Pennsylvania, you have a Supreme Court election. In addition to local elections, mayor and school boards. Given the attitude of a number of school districts suppressing books, banning books, it's very important that we do not lose focus of school board elections, the way they impact our communities. We're going to talk more about the BPH Community and Alpha Elite, and also about our partner When We All Vote. I want to stress to the brothers that the chapters and regions are the focal point to what we do. We need your support to drive our programs, to get out the word, to voter registration, to get souls to the polls, etc., to engage in a variety of activities to further our community's awareness and education about the candidates and the issues and the process to vote. We also want to talk about using some of the reporting tools that are available through When We All Vote, and then what we have in Alpha Elite. When we take a look at the VPHP community, in March, we were able to move this to Alpha Elite via Alpha MX. Therefore, the information we can provide is secured behind the firewall. And with that, we have more capability in terms of communicating to a brotherhood about programs specifically and things we're trying to address with this national program. One of the things that we talked about at the General Convention in Dallas was to engage each collegiate and alumni chapter in the regions to join the community, VPH community. This gives you a high-level overview of where we're at with that membership. The next slide actually gives the detailed breakdown by region, by district, the number of active collegiate chapters, and then you see how many have actually signed up to be a part of this community. Then you'll see the percentages, also the breakdown by alumni chapters, those that have joined in October 1st, a recent update of October 16th. Clearly, as we look at this, there's work ahead of us as we try to get to 80% participation. One of the key areas we need to address is the engagement of our college brothers. Our collegiate brothers are really going to be the focus and the future that they need to be on board with this program. So they understand how to communicate on their campuses, and we understand what the issues are to our collegiate brothers so they can communicate to their peers and others the importance of voting and the impact it has. These next few slides just want to highlight those regions and chapters that have joined the community. And you'll see as we go through the presentation, the information in the BPH community and the libraries and information is going to be critical as we launch our programs for this election cycle and beyond. The Southern region, you can see their engagement. Also, we have the Southwestern and Western regions as well. So that's very important that we continue to get their support. Currently, we have 125 members in the community. That's very important. As we expand the program, we look for greater participation. As chapters come on board, our membership should grow and increase. The other thing that we want to do is take a look within the library. I just want to call out a few libraries that have information that is beneficial. The first one, the Implementation Guide and Program. This was created in about 2012, 2013. This was initially created, the second edition, when I served as General Committee Chair under Brother Tillman. This information is somewhat dated, but it still takes you through the various programs, such as working with Women League of Voters and things you can do at the chapter level to engage your community, town hall meetings, things of that nature. We'll also let you know that there's another one, we're interested in trying to identify brothers, either federal, state, or local officials. There's a survey there to capture that information. One of the things that came out of Indianapolis was to be able to collect information about those brothers that were either incumbents or running for office. In gathering this information, this is no endorsement, it's just a repository of brothers that are running for office or that are incumbents. There's information about how to create a display stand for your chapter with QR codes to make it easy for people to scan a QR code to verify their voter registration or to register to vote. There's also events that we capture. If you submit pictures, we want to capture the information as well. Also, the reporting tool, which talks about if you do an event, how to capture the information so it roll up within the tool within Alpha Fraternity. And then also another library is When We All Vote, and we'll talk about that resource shortly. So if you're familiar with When We All Vote, there's a QR code that's aligned with Alpha Fraternity. So when you're having events, you can use the flyer or you can take the QR code, which you've already done on some of the deliverables, and have that attached where people can scan that. Once that QR code is scanned, a couple of things happen. This dashboard that's provided to Alpha Fraternity, which I have access to, captures the engagements of those QR code scans. So since January 1st through October 16th, there have been a total of 114 verifications where people actually used that QR code to check their voter registration, of which 13 have registered, 2 registered this past week, and 18 were verified this past week. You'll see in red, those are pending, where they started the process to fill out the information but did not complete. The benefit in partnering with When We All Vote is that they actually track when they're not completed to follow up with individuals. Likewise, once you scan that code, they have collect information so they can then follow up with you on the various elections in your area to make sure you're informed of elections coming up and issues that's important, that's critical to being a knowledgeable and informed voter. So we've partnered with Women on Vote for the last several years, and they've expanded their resources and capabilities. So this dashboard is a very good tool to allow us to see our activity. The next slide is just an example. The blue bubbles show where QR codes have been scanned based upon the event that we've done, the fraternity. The area of concern is all that white space. Those are states where it appears that we've not had any activity in using When We All Vote and the QR code. And that may be for several reasons. One reason may be that such a state of Colorado, where you can do your own voter registration drives once you're approved by the state, they use paper ballots, so there may not be a need to use the QR code. You may partner with other organizations where they're actually collecting the voter information, so it's not showing. But ultimately, the concern is that if we're engaged in our communities doing voter registration drives, we still should have some impact. We should use the tools. And hopefully, as we go forward for the remainder of this year and 2024, that we're going to see more hits and start getting this white space filled with blue bubbles. So it's important that we manage that. The other piece is, brothers, what is your chapter doing? Are you engaged in activities? If so, we'd like you to document those, submit the information to the VPHP committee so we can capture the information. It's important that if you're doing an event, if you take photos, send it as an email, as a PowerPoint. Please include your chapter information, the date, the venue if possible. Also, if you can list the names of the brothers or people that are in that photograph so we can kind of recognize and put context behind the event. All these things are important to keep us engaged and knowing where we're active at. So as we take a look at where we want to go with this, it's critical, once again, that we get the engagement of the collegiate and alumni chapters to be a part of the VPH community. So you have resources to the library. You have information that's going to be beneficial as you do your programs. One thing about this program, one size does not fit all. So we need to understand what your chapter needs, what you need as groups, as a region or a district, program-wise, that we can help and support you. As you look at these libraries over time, if we need to add additional libraries or take some down, we will do that. Our mission is to support our chapters. Once again, what's the game plan for those elections coming up? We take a look at Kentucky, Mississippi, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Jersey, local elections, what you're planning to get out the vote in November. College chapters, once again, we need you to be better engaged with this program because there are some funds that may be available in the 2024 cycle that you need to be ready for, and we need to be able to communicate with you. So by being part of this community, we can gather that information and share with you important information that's critical to your success. The other thing which I'd like to have you say the date for, we'll have another webinar February 6, 2024. At that time, we'll take a look at the primaries for 2024, look at the election cycle. Clearly, with the presidential election, a third of the Senate will be up. The entire House of Representatives will be up for election. And also, you see there are about 11 gubernatorial races in 2024. It's going to be a busy year in 2024. The other thing I would share with you is that going forward, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff floating around the air about politician A, politician B. Our mission is to keep our head down, understand what the issues are, make sure we're working with our community to understand who the candidates are, what they stand for. And as we always say, do not vote against your self-interest, but do vote. So with that in mind, we'll go back to this StreamYard studio. So if there are any questions or comments, if they get posted, we can take a look at them. I see a number of people have joined us from the Bahamas. The other thing which we will do, this is being recorded, so we'll be posting Sphinx TV. We will also have the slide deck available in the VPH community. We'll post it tomorrow. So you'll be able to then use it in your chapter meetings or as appropriate. Do you have any other questions? In terms of, it looks like question in Tennessee, there are a few districts there that may have did a voter registration drive. What we will do, we'll be providing the detailed information to the regional focal points in terms of what activities we've had with when we all vote in the QR codes. The other thing we'll be asking the regional focal points is to work with the district directors to identify who is the assistant district director, so we can also begin to develop that communication with the college brothers. Are there any other questions? If not, those that have joined us, I want to thank you very much. And we look forward to answering any questions you may have. My email address is bphp@8581906.net. And I post my information. My cell phone is 303-868-6760. Are there any questions before we get ready to close this out? We try to keep these to about 30 minutes, and we're just about right on target. So therefore, this is easy to share with your chapters at your next chapter meeting, or to share with people in your community about what we're trying to do with the VPHP program. If not anything else, we want to thank you very much for your time this evening. And please be prepared for a long haul as we get ready for the 2023 November elections and the primaries elections in 2024. Thank you very much and have a good evening. 06.